So, good evening everyone out there, and welcome to the next event of the mainstream racing series. We are right in the midway of the season. This is race number 10, including today 12 races left, so still are plenty of racing action yet to come. And today I may welcome you out of my broadcasting booth from YouTube in Mexico. I am Sepp Bauer, glad you're with us, and we will see a 50% race, what should equal around about 30 laps today in Mexico, the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, or how I like to call it, the living room of Speedy Bo, the quickest mouse in Mexico. So let's have a look at the track. This is it. The track is right on the outskirts of Mexico City. It's around about 4.3 kilometers long, and with that in the shorter half of the racetracks on this year's calendar. Mexico has returned to the Formula One annual race calendar in the year of 2015. And the characteristics, the most important thing of course is the almost endlessly long seeming straight on the start finish line. That is 1.2 kilometers of length, and that equals the second longest straight in the Formula One at the moment. Very special about it is that after the start, the grid will have a rundown of approximately 1 kilometer to the first turn, and this is the longest phase in this year. The Sector 1 features a bunch of 90 degrees turns, so once or twice around the block you could say, followed by some medium and fast-paced turns in Sector 2 that shall remind us of the SS of maybe Suzuka or Silverstone, and some slow and very technical turns in Sector 3. And in the last sector we will run through the stands of a baseball stadium, the baseball stadium called Foro Sol, the home of the Diablos Rojos del Mexico. And with a altitude of 2.2 kilometers, we are here at the highest altitude of the whole year. In real life, the teams and drivers struggle to get the downforce needed due to the thin air in this area. In the virtual world, we of course do not have these issues. One last stats, so to say, the fastest track time in real life was posted by Valtteri Bottas in 2018, and that was a 1 minute 18.741. But I expect our drivers of the mainstream racing series to run around 4 or maybe even 5 seconds faster than the real life. That brings us back to the lobby. While all the drivers are joining, we have a short look about the rules and the session circumstances for tonight. As I mentioned, a 50% race, what should mean around about 30 laps. And before that, a short means 18 minutes qualifying. That is something like free practice, and the fastest drivers will decide the pole. we have equal car performances, of course. A safety car VSC is on, likewise to full damage. Dynamic weather. Well, I have seen rain in Mexico in the game, but I think rain should not be the biggest risk for today. We have regular corner cutting rules. That is important because the track limits could be exceeded pretty well. The track lets that happen. There are not that many gravel pits right beside the track, but we are in regular, so should not be the biggest amount of penalties, but we will see some, I suppose. We have, of course, full rules and flags installed, manual race start, and let's have a look at the assists that are possible. As you can see here, we have up to medium traction control and a manual gearbox, and pit assists are completely disabled. Means you have to watch the speed when coming into the pit lane, as well as you have to manually start after the tire change. So while the drivers are still joining and getting maybe the setups ready, we still have a few minutes of time, 2-3 minutes roundabout, until the session should start. Let's talk about some surrounding stuff, some general issues. We have seen I would like to say, very entertaining last race in Canada, which is still visible on my YouTube account, so if you wish you can still rewatch it. And in that race we saw the leader of the overall standings, Dominic Walsh, ending his race rather quickly in the early laps, so he earned 0 points, while Zemo won the race. Thomas Walsh, not related to Dominic Walsh, Thomas W, went on P3 if I remember right, and so Dominic Walsh has only 21 points left of his gap as the leader. 21 points in first moment still seems like a lot, but as I mentioned, there are still 12 races to go today, so there are still anything can happen on this spot. And Simo crawled up a lot too. Simo in P3 is now 33 points behind Dominic Walsh, so whatever will happen today, Simo is not able to overtake Dominic Walsh in the overall standings, but Thomas Walsh, Thomas W, could do that. So speaking about all these issues, I asked the drivers a few questions during the week, and I will try to repeat some of those questions and answers now in the early get-go and during the qualifying. And the first thing, as it fits to the topic maybe at the moment, I asked Dominic Walsh right on the day after the Canadian race if he feels more pressure now, and he said, definitely, I have to go out and get points. It's crucial to keep my lead. And with all that, the session timer has started to count down, and the qualifying is about to begin. So here we see the picture of the baseball stadium. As I mentioned, this is really a cool moment when driving through. In real life, probably a lot more than in virtual lives, but in the virtual world, at least the stands are filled in this year. Another picture of Forosol, Stadium Forosol. So the drivers are joining, are loading their respective car setup into the game. And car setup is, like every time I would like to say, on these rather new tracks, more or less always the same issue, whether to focus on top speed for the long straight. I mentioned it, we have a very long straight, second longest in the whole year, or if you focus your setup on having some good downforce in the turns and sacrificing top speed. We see the first driver going out on the track. This is a Ferrari. It's either Scuba, no, does not seem like, or it is Simo. Let's jump to him. Here we go. 17 drivers joined. We have sadly 2 persons who did not make it. And so for the moment, as we watch Simo, I will get my note sheets ready, as I was asking him a few questions too. So while we watch him getting loaded in his tires, I asked him 2 things. The first thing was about the fact that what I mentioned, that he made up a lot of points on Thomas W. and Dominic Walsh. So the question was, what's your goal for the rest of the season? The answer to that: my goal for the season is to not have any more bad luck and win the championship. Okay, nothing to add to this, I would like to say. The second question was what I just mentioned about the setup issues. If he focuses on full speed, or rather on downforce, and he said, for a track like Mexico, it is difficult to balance straight line speed with downforce, but I always lean on the side of downforce and setting the car up to be the very planted through the corners and corner exit. So we now the strategy of Simo going into this event, that would mean that he should give us some great times in these parts, the slow turns, slow and medium turns, and might be under pressure then in the race on the long straight, especially if there's someone behind him attacking him with DRS. So let's get some more information in about the lap times. Let's have a look at the use, but it should be, should be a lot of softs, and it is a lot of softs. Running on medium right now, maybe just a little bit of a installation lap, while we see Simo maybe having a bit of traffic ahead. The first time posted was a 1:14.9. That's already quite good. Quite good, I would like to say. See Dicky now on P2, welcome to you. He is one of our reserve drivers who has jumped in tonight to replace the second Renault spot. So welcome and good luck to you. There should be a lot of times coming in now. That's just it. Stefan Willis now on P2, over a second behind Simo. Monster in 3. Dom Walsh, welcome to the pole. Dominic Walsh, He was very silent, I would like to say, during the week in the ongoing chatter in the paddock. But he has shown us that he is around about half a second faster than Simo on his first hot lap. Further, Thomas W. Oh, and Dominic Walsh has posted this one lap, and the game said he has retired from the game. Let's see if that's true, or if he is able to jump back in afterwards. Let's have a quick look through the standings right now. Dominic Walsh, then Simo, Thomas W. on P4, Mr. Leonard Cam. Already the second time I may comment his actions in this week. Welcome back to you, mate. Then C. Dickey on P5, so the guest or reserve driver. Not the worst time. While David Lawson has pushed himself into P4. Welcome to you too. Then, as mentioned, Stefan Willis on 7, on 8 Scuba, on 9 The Monster, on 10 Mike Taylor, 11 Mercyman, P12 Goziga Zimpa, P13 Jarne van de Briel, still one of our newer drivers in the grid too, but he had some really good results the last 2 races, so with his 133 it's obvious he had a problem on his hot lap, and this will not be the last time we will see from him. No times posted by Grimo, Ninja, Defak and Gary. So a lot of people, a lot of drivers in the pits now. We see an Alpha Tauri leaving. This might be Ninja. Let's have a look. If it's him, it is. So Ninja was another person I was talking to during the week while he's on his outlap. Let's have a look at the short interview. I was asking him, he was actually the first person in the paddock chatter who reacted pretty negatively on the fact that Mexico is our next race. I was asking him about the opinion, his opinion about this track, and he answered, "I haven't had much time in Mexico. I've never really felt 100% comfortable on the track, so some practice will be needed. Let's see how much and how good he practiced during the week." The second question, he finished P7 in Canada, and I asked him if that's a good result or if he has been rather disappointed about that. And he answered, P7 was a points finish, which is the bare minimum I'm looking for. I knew I was lacking pace in Canada, so I'm not disappointed, but always looking for that next podium. Okay. A good qualifying is mandatory for a podium in the race. Maybe let's stay with him and have a look at this track from his onboard view. He's now in this first sector. As I mentioned, some 90-degree turns. Let's see if he will have some... No, he will not. Thanks to, I think, Deflag it was. Went out of the way right on time. So some more 90 degrees turns here at the beginning of sector 2. Here we go into sector, in the sector 2 into these fast turns, a lot of left and right, something around 250 kilometers, a bit up and down, followed by a DRS zone here, pretty short one, just to catch up. And here we are in the Photosol Stadium, as I mentioned. Really great view to drive through. Around about 55,000 people in this stands here, and that's already it. Back to the start-finish line. There was a timing line, and his first hot lap was a good one, 150.3, pushing him in P3. Not bad, not bad. And here again a view of this very long straight, and you can imagine that a good start is totally mandatory on this very, very long straight. So as he is already 8/10ths behind his hot lap, this is probably either a cool down lap or rather a lap back to the pits. So let's jump to somewhere else where some stuff is going on. Dom Walsh rejoined the session, so yeah, he stepped out of his car for a short moment, maybe a bit of a toilet break, and is back in his cockpit now and ready to go. With 8 minutes left, we will see if he will take just one shot or tries two tries. And while I speak about that, Simo has reconquered the lead. Simo back in the pole position with a 1:13.7. Means around about 7/10 faster than Dominic Walsh. That's, yep, another great lap. And here we are, roundabout more or less exactly 5 seconds faster than Valtteri Bottas in the real life. Wow, that's really an amazing pace. So let's jump from the pits to some ongoing action. We see David Lawson, who was just at the end of his hot lap, unable to improve. Who else is on a hot lap right now? That's maybe Scuba. Now he's ruled on an out lap, but he is actually on his in lap back to the pits, going through the stadium. So we probably will see him turn right into the pit lane, or is he warming up his tires? Just a cool down lap and go out for another hot lap right away. He will enter the pits. Likewise to his teammate Simo, right behind him. There he is, pole sitter at the moment. So who is not in the pits right now? Rather guys from the bottom. So maybe let's have a look at Monster. He's on a hot lap. He is at the end of sector 1. 2.7 improving his first time. Let's see how this will continue at the end of sector 2. Coming up right at the end of this short straight. 8/10ths faster than his first turn. So this sector 3, the close and slow turns will decide how much he is improving himself. Has had, I would like to say, a rather clean sector 3, improving himself by 1.1 second, giving him P5. Not bad at all, P5, but still 1.5 seconds behind Simo. On a track that is rather short, 1.5 seconds is really almost the whole world, I would like to say. But the race is long. We have seen a lot of action going on in the latest races, so things aren't decided yet. So on an out lap right now would be Stefan Willis in his Alpha Tauri. He's at the end of sector 1. Well, he has decided a not optimum point of time, I would like to say, to go out, because he will have a hot lap, of course, and then he will run out of time. He will not have another shot, so this is already his final shot. And in P3 you could imagine he might be a pole runner, even though the gap is pretty big. So for his final shot, let's sit down on his airbox and watch this lap together what he's doing on this long straight. Braking as late as possible. Third gear, second and third gear through these turns. DRS opened up here. And he is 1.810 slower than his first hot lap. Not totally over yet for him, but I think that the pole should probably be too far away for him. These are the fast turns, few left, few right. Not the best line for him. Will not be an improvement in the end. 6.5 tenths slower. And he has already aborted it. Taking the wide line. And he's probably out, so he has finished his qualifying. While we are here watching Ninja Pro. Behind David Lawson, so maybe he should slow down a bit to have some fresh air on his hot lap. Maybe not the best thing he's doing here to be so close to Lawson, and to Jarne van de Bril. And now he has taken some pace out. It's important to accelerate at the right time, not to be too slow here. And he opts to go to the pits anyway. 140 left. Ooh, this would be very close if in case he decides to run again. His pit crew will have to hurry up a lot now if he wants to run again. So who is chasing times? Maybe let's jump to David Lawson. Here he is, right behind Jarne van de Bril. After Sector 1 he's about at the same level as he was before. Here in these turns it's not a good thing to be behind someone. You do not want to have dirty air in right these turns, so probably no improvement possible for him. But he might have another shot if he crosses the start finish line before the clock hits zeros, and that he will. He can have another shot. The question is just if the tires are good enough and the amount of fuel is enough for that. Gary really impeding him here. He has to step next to him. Not an improvement, of course, right here. And yes, while this is happening, let's jump to those guys who will decide the pole. So here we are with Dominic Walsh. He is right on point after Sector 1 with his first hot lap. Let's see where Sector 2 will end for him. Quite a good line, I would like to say, through these fast turns. Sector 2, 3 tenths. He's better by 3 tenths now, but this would not be enough to acquire the pole. Through the stadium, last right-hander. Clean acceleration he had, but yes, 114.0, not good enough for the pole. Simo did not improve himself anymore, but wasn't needed. Half a second in front of Dominic Walsh. So the positions, I would like to say, are more or less decided. Simo in the pole, Dominic Walsh on P2, Thomas W on P3, repeating a good result. Congratulations to the first 3 guys. On P4, Mike Taylor. Stefan Willis on 5, stepped out of his car pretty early, but wasn't necessary for him to go again. Leonard Cam on P6 that he had in Spa already on Monday when I were allowed to stream the race. He was in Jarne van de Briel on P7. Maybe a bit of disappointment after his good finish in Canada last week. Ninja Pro on P8, Monster on 9, Zidiki, the new guy for today, on P10, David Larson P11, a place he's already familiar with. That was the place he finished in Spa likewise on Monday. P12 Scuba, 13 Defak, and the bottom 4 positions we will see just in a bit when we shortly return to the lobby. So here we are. We stopped at P12, that was Scuba. Defak on P13, qualifying on medium tires. P14 Mercyman, P15 Goziga, P16 Gary, and no time posted sadly by Grimo. We will be back in just a bit. So here we are again in the pit lane in Mexico, and we are about to get started. Less than 30 seconds left. The drivers are right now loading their setup, and we will see a installation lap. I'm pretty happy about that, giving me a bit of time to get things sorted out. And the session is about to start now. Here we have the grid. Ferrari of Simo leading the way into the installation lap. Let's get the informations we will need. A track map, especially important when we are talking about pit stops. Then I would like to show you for the moment now the tires. We will start on softs for everyone. Every 17 driver will start on softs. Tire degradation actually is not a big issue here in Mexico, so we should see a one-stop race. I would not be surprised if someone tries to go through on red and yellow, so this might be possible. And for the start, we will have a closer look at the position changed. None yet right now, of course. And we will focus for the start on, let's say, someone around here. Let's focus the camera on Mr. Taylor in P4. Not especially anything about him, but just a bit of a possibility to have a bit of better overview what will happen in the live streams. Sadly, I do not have the possibility of, so I will try to have the camera on point where most of the action is likely to occur. And yes, we have seen a lot of action in the last races, so this should be a great and entertaining virtual Grand Prix coming up. And here is the grid. The 5 red lights are about to start. 5 red lights, and the Mexican Grand Prix is on. Let's see who gets out of his position best. Simo will stay in P1, I would like to say. Dominic Walsh in 2, Leonard Camp +3, had a good start in his McLaren. Maybe even Leonard Camp in P2, Leonard Camp in P2. Wow, that was really great. Well, we'll see the tire strategy by AWS, but we will talk about that later. Gary already out of the race. And there is some yellow in sector 3. The cars run a bit slow, I would like to say. No bigger issue there. Simo already started to crawl away. We see a -3 on Dominic Walsh. Here he is. Had a rather bad start. Oh, Monster's out, and we have the first safety car. Monster out, Jarno van de Briel likewise cannot jump to those guys. Seems like a crash in the early get-go between Monster and Jarno van de Briel. That is really sad, very, very sad. Because Jarno van de Briel had some great results lately. And we see the first guys in the pits. Let's jump to them. There is Scuba. He needs a new nose. He picked up some damage somewhere too. Further, he opted for soft tire, medium, I think yellow tire, isn't it? I think it was yellow tires. Further, we saw Gozia Simpa in the pits. Mounting softs again. Gosiga going from soft to soft. A lot of stuff going on here in the early get-go already. So first safety car right at the end of lap 1. Sadly, I did not depict the crash of Jarne and Monster. That's right what I mentioned, so there's sadly no replay for me. But okay, let's focus on those 13 guys that are still in this race. Let's jump ahead to the leading Ferrari of Simo, just behind the Mercedes of Bernd Mailänder. I could imagine this will not be the last safety car phase for this race, so let's see how long Mailänder will be today. And there are no further pit stops right now, so everyone has opted to stay on their softs from the start. Let's run it down a bit. Simo in P1, Leonard Camp P2, great start by him. Stefan Willis on P3, Mike Taylor P4, Dominic Walsh in 5. The overall leader had some problems from the early get-go. Z Dickey in P6, quite a good start from the newcomer. P7, Thomas W. Among the losers, I would like to say, from the start too. Then we have on P8 the Ninja, P9 David Lawson, jumped ahead by 2 places compared to his start, so not a hot start this time for him. I expected a bit more from him. I mentioned it in the early get-go, he's our rocket starter, and especially on this very long rundown to turn 1, I expected him to jump ahead a bit more. P10 Mercyman, P11 then Grimo, P12 Goziga Simpa, and 13 Scuba. Those 2 guys already had a pit stop. And we see the information of race control that safety car is in at the end of this lap. So we are now in the last sector. This close turns and Simo dictates the pace here. He's running really slow until one very moment when he will pick up the pace and rush ahead. rush away from Lennart Cam. He tries to stay in as close as possible. And Simo has picked up the pace right here. We are back to racing action. Green flags. And Lennart Cam was not shaken off. He's still there, searching the slipstream on the long straight. No attack possible. In the background, there is some fight going on here from Siddiqui. Overtaking Dominic Walsh. Wow, Dominic Walsh has lost another position. There he is on P6. It might be now even under pressure by Thomas W. And who else is there battling it out? Ooh, a lot of action going on here with Ninja and Thomas W. Thomas W was forced on the wide line, but no touch or crash between those two, I would like to assume. And behind them is David Lawson. Taking a wide line here. They shouldn't do it too often. After some time there will be a penalty. We have yellow in sector 2. There is some Renault slow. Oh, and we have yet another safety car. It's Mercy Man who lacks a front wing, it seems like. Front wing is completely off, so there has been a big crash. Already the second time I have to say that I did not have it on the live screen. We see multiple pit stops now, and Dominic Walsh committed the next mistake. Dominic Walsh has received a 5 seconds penalty as he was speeding in the pit lane. Yep, he still has the penalty icon next to his name. Let's have a look at the details about penalties. 5 seconds for him. So either added to his time total in the end, or his pit stop crew will have to watch 5 seconds, watch his car 5 seconds before they may touch him and mount new tires. As he has opted to stop on red tires again, he will have to have at least one more stop, and I suppose that the 5 seconds penalty will be done then at the next pit stop. And Goziga Simpa has a 5 seconds from an earlier part of the race. Yeah, well, it doesn't look too good in the early get-go for Dominic Walsh. I was talking to him, I was repeating his questions, that he does feel the pressure on him, and yeah, reminds me a bit of a young Lewis Hamilton in his early years, where he was already fighting for championships in his early phase of his career, but wasn't the most stable driver, I would like to say, under pressure conditions. So let's get back to the tire information and let's jump ahead to our leader, Simo again. He's already quite familiar with this situation right now. I think we haven't seen more than one lap of green condition, of total racing action yet, but that will come, I'm pretty sure about that. Behind him was Lennart Cam. Lennart Cam has pitted and got him fresh mediums. He's now in P9. I was mentioning that I could imagine some drive going for red and yellow, but I think in this stage he will not be able to do that. Would be a very long stint on these mediums, so he will have to have another stop, I would like to assume. Then Mike Taylor had a pit stop too and got himself fresh red tires. Dominic Walsh, yep, we saw that. We see David Lawson who has opted for fresh hearts. Let's see if he can make them last until the very end. And while that, Bernd Mailänder will come into the pit lane. Now we are again in the last sector. While Siddiqui collided with Willis and got himself a penalty for that. That's sad. That is really sad. He's in P3 right now. A good race for the newcomer. And when does Simo pick up the pace? Now he does. Now he does. But Willis is close. Not too far away. Half a second round about. So here we are with green flags again. Second, or actually third start of the race, so to say. Let's see what's going on here. Action between Thomas Walsh and Ninja. Walsh on the better end, at least for the moment. Where else is action going on? Let's jump through the field. The cars are pretty close to each other here. That's Scuba and Grimo. Grimo attacking him. Got it done pretty easily, but of course an advantage for Grimo because he's using soft tires, giving him a bit more grip than Scuba does. And a lot of guys here in the action in the fast turns. Oh, there was a McGarren taking a very wide lane. That's Leonard Cam. He shouldn't do that too often because sometimes after a few times there will be a penalty for that too. So in the baseball stadium those guys are close together. Leonard Cam with his yellow tires does have some disadvantage too, as Mike Taylor is pushing hard on him on his reds and might have his position now. Let's see what's going on. Leonard Cam is in P8. Mike Taylor did not overtake him. The camera was a bit confusing there, sadly. We did not see the attack. We just see that Leonard Cam is still running in his P8, but might be under pressure here again. Meanwhile, Simo has posted a new fastest lap and has run away by over 2 seconds from Stefan Willis. So he just continues to post good times. Looks like a pretty good race for Simo thus far. Oh, Leonard Cam taking a wide line here again, trying to attack Scuba, and now is under attack by Mike Taylor. What's going on here? Threesome. 3 guys next to each other. In this time this doesn't go well. Oh, and there's the crash. There's the crash. I said it. This cannot go well. Mike Taylor with heavy damage to his front wing that forces him into the pits here. Just a bit of luck for him that the pit entry wasn't that far away. Whew. Didn't I say it? A lot of action going on, and we did not yet have seen DRS opened up, so all this action still even without the DRS system. Getting himself a new nose, new medium tires again, and oh, have a look at that, the new fastest lap for Siddiqui. Let's jump to him, not far away, on P12. He is running on soft tires, having a pretty lonesome race, I would like to call it at the moment. No action going on for him. Speaking about action, let's have a look at Dominic Walsh next to Scuba. Overtook him. It's not over yet. This is not over yet. Here in the fast turn, sector 2. Scuba does have DRS now, so it is finally activated. We finally see us in DRS attacks. Let's jump into his cockpit from Scuba, battling for P8 or maybe P7 in front of him. He had a bit of a bad acceleration here at the end of this turn. DRS will be opened here. Yep, it is open, but he's a lot too far away from Dominic Walsh to try a counter attack. He does not have an advantage on DRS because Dominic Walsh was able to open it up likewise, as he is close to Leonard Cam. Leonard Cam already had a stop. Dominic Walsh too, but Walsh still carries a penalty with him. So, yeah, well, let's see if Walsh will try to work his way back to at least a podium, or if he's maybe a bit angry and might commit a few mistakes due to being too aggressive. Next DRS zone is about to come up. Oh, that should have been a warning for him. Shouldn't have too much of those attacking him on the inside. Wow, very close between those guys. I was just speaking about it, that he might be too aggressive. Ooh, yeah, bit of a luck for both these guys in this position. Who has jumped into the pits? It was Ninja. The next attack for Dominic Walsh. This one should work easily, as Leonard Cam did not have a DRS opened up. And in front of him there is some action between Grimo jumping on him. Ooh, jumping over Goziga on the outside line here. I was talking about it. The track allows to go wide to the track. I'm not too sure if that was an legal maneuver, but we do not see a penalty from race control yet, so for the moment he is in P4, followed here by Goziga, and Dominic Walsh is right behind Goziga too and jumps away. He's gone. Goziga committed a little bit of a mistake at the exit of one of the fast turns, and Dominic Walsh just passed him easily. Dominic Walsh on his way back to the front rows, and does he attack Grimo right here? No, he does not. He will wait for the DRS zone that is about to come up here. Grimo already defending. Yeah, Dominic Walsh doesn't even need the slipstream. He passes him rather easily on this 1.2 kilometer long straight and is back to P4. Back to P4 for Dominic Walsh. He still has the DRS advantage, as there is actually just one DRS detection for both those DRS zones. Who's next? Who's next for Walsh? He is 2.4 seconds behind Stefan Willis. Let's see how long it will take for him to get into the DRS window. Let's have a look behind at Goziga Simpa. Here he is, who is chasing his teammate Leonard Cam. Goziga has the advantage with his soft tires, but Leonard Cam is close enough at Grimo, so both McLaren will be equipped with DRS on the long straight. So no advantage for Goziga, and he goes to the pits anyway. Likewise to Grimo, Willis. Simo, the leader, is in the pits. Let's jump to him. He's already on the pit exit. Pretty silent race of him thus far. Just running away of everybody, it seems. And he's coming out of the pits right behind David Lawson. Simo has opted to run on soft tires again. David Lawson on hard, so shouldn't be pretty hard for Simo. Does not have DRS yet, and he already attacks him on the outside line here. Please stay clean, guys, and they do. Clean maneuver from Simo. A bit early, I would like to say. I was expecting him to wait a bit longer for the next DRS zone, but he did not. He did not choose to stay behind Lawson in these turns and jump on him as soon as possible. And he did it in a pretty clean maneuver, I would like to say. Let's jump into the midfield. Midfield action here from Grimo. And ahead Ninja very close to Mercy Man. DRS for Ninja and Grimo. Ninja gets Mercy Man here, I would like to assume, and he does. Grimo, who are we racing with right now, has pretty new soft tires. Mercy Man on used mediums, and Ninja ahead on new softs too. Next DRS attack here by Grimo, but he does not pull away that much. Seems like Mercy Man has set up his car pretty well for the long straights. Nevertheless, Grimo on the inside, and he gets it and pushes Mercy Man into a attack by his teammate C. Dicky attacking him here on the inside line. Mercy Man leaves him space, but has the better line in the next few turns. And Mercy Man lost the position to his teammate, and further to that acquired a 3 seconds penalty. He was cutting some corners, maybe a bit too much, ignored multiple warnings, and that costs him 3 seconds. So let's jump a bit further behind. Here we are in the cockpit of Mike Taylor, who is close to Stefan Willis. Willis has opted for hards. So we are now in lap 15, soon to be lap 16 for those guys. And maybe Willis will be able to make his tires last through the race. We will have an eye on that. And at the moment on the long straight with the RS, Mike Taylor does not crawl up too much, I suppose, due to the fact that Willis did have the RS likewise. Ooh, taking the corner very in a unique lane, I would like to call it. And Willis did not attack Mercy Man yet. Mercy committed a mistake on the brakes, bringing Willis into the action here. Not attacking him yet, but that will soon come up. And he is attacked. He is attacked by Mike Taylor and loses the position. Wow, how much action is going on here? Willis had to brake due to a mistake of Mercy. Mercy committed another mistake, losing the second position in a row here. So Mike Taylor overtook 2 at once. Willis, overtook a person, but is back to his P11. But he will see himself into DRS attack mode on this long straight. He's pretty far away, I would like to say. Scuba, meanwhile, with his second stop, giving him fresh hearts. Mike Taylor a bit far on the outside here. Willis unable to attack him yet, but as long as he doesn't commit a mistake in sector 2, he will probably be able to attack him on the long straight in the next lap then. So right now just stay cleanly behind Mike Taylor, do not commit a mistake, stay out of the dirty air as much as possible in the upcoming fast turns. Ninja Pro to receive the next penalty. So Willis, now he's a bit far away again. Here is another short DRS zone. He's able to get closer, around about 1/10 or so. And he needs to stay close to Taylor here in the baseball stadium. Needs to have a clean exit here. And he's now away 7/10. This might be too far away again for an attack. Taylor already defending himself very early. Not a chance for Willis to attack here. Speaking about an attack, this might come up here by Thomas Walsh on Ninja. Not yet. And while all this is happening, we jump there to P2. The fight for the lead. Simo versus Dominic Walsh. Simo on the inside, having the better lane in the stadium, and gets it done easily. Dominic Walsh already 11 laps on his softs, and here he is into the pits. Let's stay with him for a moment. As I assumed earlier, I expect his pit stop crew to not touch him. Yep, haha. Some tried. The person on the right rear tire tried to touch him but did not commit it in the end. So he has served his 5 seconds penalty, opted for fresh hearts. That will probably get him over the race. And he's back out on track now on P7. Nevertheless, as he was quite fast, I would like to say, he should be battling for a podium. Sees himself under pressure here by Mike Taylor at the moment. Short DRS zone to come up. Watch on the inside line, but he loses the position. He has lost the position to Mike Taylor. I did definitely not expect that. But maybe his fresh hard tires not on the temperature yet. Maybe a bit of an advantage for the yellows from Mike Taylor. And that's pushed Taylor on P7, at least for the moment. The short DRS zone here in front of the stadium. Yeah, I suppose that Dominic Walsh knows what to do, so he will just stay behind him as close as possible. A bit of a slide there while accelerating. And he will probably attack Mike Taylor now here on this 1.2 kilometer long straight. DRS opened up here. And yep, should work easily for him. And it does. He will have DRS again on the next short straight. Gives him the possibility to sneak away a bit. Yes, Dominic Walsh back in P7, but he is already through with his pit stop strategy, so all drivers in front of him still have to stop at least once. Maybe, question mark, David Lawson will not, but his hearts are pretty old already by now. We will have to have an eye on that. So Dominic Walsh, I expect him to still be in the fight for something, at least P3, I would like to say. So I expect him to take part of the champagne shower in the end. Let's have a look at Scuba P11. There he is, pretty close to Goziga Zimpa, and will be able to open up his DRS swing on the long straight. And there are a few pit stops. Ninja Pro was in the pits, opting for fresh mediums, giving Scuba P10 already by now. A late attack here, no, just a fake, just showing himself, maybe trying to push Goziga Zimpa in some braking mistake. But that did not work. Bit of showing himself in the mirrors, left and right, left and right. So we turn into the fast turns in sector 2 right here. Not the most comfortable position to be in the dirty air right here. The game simulates that very well in this year. Oh, and that's it. Oh, a mistake from Scuba. That's sad. That is definitely sad, as he was battling for points here. He's still in a battle for points, but will lose a lot of time He has lost a lot of wing and a lot of... and now even losing a tire. And that's it. Scuba is out for the race, and he has caused another safety car phase. Already the third one for today. Siddiqui already got him a penalty for speeding under safety car conditions. There he is. Totally ruining his race now. He had a pretty good race actually for a newcomer. Good qualifying, good race. Oh, and he is costing his teammate time. Mercy Man into the pits too. Dicky and Mercy both opted for fresh mediums. That will get them over the race from now, I would like to say. And Simo is in the pits too. Fresh mediums. Still in the lead. Is he really still in the lead? Can hardly believe that his gap was that big. But Leonard Cam is in the pits too. Yellow tires as well. David Lawson, here he is again. So we should not worry about his hard tires anymore. Behind him, Grimo in the pits for yellows. Thomas Walsh too. Grimo stayed in front of Walsh. Thomas Walsh. Speaking about Walsh, Dominic Walsh was in the pits too. Not a relative to Thomas Walsh. And he will exit the pit lane on P7. Back to P7 he was already before. Ninja Pro was the only one who did not stop because he stopped just one lap earlier. So how much of bad luck is that for Ninja? Yeah, but well, that is racing. That probably is racing. So Ninja told me in the interviews he is looking always for that next podium. From P6 now with the last 12-13 laps under green condition, I think that will be hard. It's not out of this world, but it will be hard for him. And everyone is on the same tire right now. Everyone has fresh mediums. This one lap more or less from Ninja does not have any bigger effect, I'd like to say. So that means after this highly exciting race we will see the guys battling it out. At least if there is no further safety car action, we will definitely have a race decided on the track in the last third of the race. So yeah, one more thing about Scuba. That's really sad what he did. I mentioned he was in the fight for points. He is not anymore as he's out. And I think he was just... yeah, he just wanted too much, I would like to say. So I expected him to just stay behind the driver in front of him and wait for the next DI zone. Maybe he wanted too much. Maybe the dirty air effect was too much in these fast turns. And after he lost a lot of downforce running into the barrier, he's not the first driver to do that. So there's a long list of very good drivers, virtual and real life of course, who did that, who could not cope with the incredible amount of downforce lost and just steered into the next mistake. So I hope that this will not be too much of a bummer for him and that he will find his motivation and fun soon, as there will be the next race to come up already next Wednesday evening. But sadly, I have to admit right now I cannot tell you which race it's going to be, but Yes, will be action-packed as always. That already I think I can promise right away. So, as we have watched Dominic Walsh warming up his tires in the last few laps, let's jump to the lead. The lead has been very one-sided today. That is Zemo. Still, it's actually something like a start-finish victory for him. At least if he can go through the last 13 laps without committing a heavy mistake. On P2, Leonard Cam, he came back. He had a pretty good start. Was a bit washed back into the midfield just to come up to P2 here again. And have a look at P3, David Lawson. David Lawson, who had such a up and down race too. Actually, I would like to call it a rather more downward race thus far, with a medium quality qualifying and some troubles, including a penalty. I think he picked up a penalty that pushed him to the background, and now he's back on P3 and the safety car is in this lap. So for the third time we will see a restart right here, including the first start. It's already the fourth start in this race. Zemo very slow here in the stadium, giving the audience a good view on the whole grid. He picks up the pace here, and we are back to green lights. Leonard Cam searching the slipstream, should not be a attack here. Let's see what's going on in the background. Grimo has lost the position to Thomas Walsh in his pink Racing Point. What else is going on? Dominic Walsh is still in his P7. So all the drivers more or less behind each other here in the first lap. I think C. Dickey committed a mistake as he is 14 seconds behind. There's some battle going on. Ninja Pro pushing ahead of Grimo, and causing almost a collision of three guys in here, as Grimo was pushed to the wide line and almost Walsh, I think, collided with him. Dominic Walsh here attacking on the inside. Do not ruin your race totally, please, Dominic Walsh. Do not throw it away. Three guys battling it out here in the stadium, and Dominic Walsh for the moment sees himself in P6 after he was already back to P8. But this is anything but over yet. Three guys will battle here on the long straight. This is the Haas of Grimo, Gosiga Simpa and Stefan Willis. No DRS yet. Attack by Grimo against Mike Taylor. And another attack in the background. Lot of action going on. Let's jump into the cockpit of Mike Taylor here. Willis not attacking him yet. Taylor against Grimm. Oh, does he take it already here? He tries, and he gets it done against Grimo. A lot of back and forth here in this group. Let's have a look at the view from the Alpha Tauri of Stefan Willis behind Grimo. Yeah, both pretty much cleanly through the fast turns. Grimo defending himself here already. I think DRS will be activated in the next lap. So yeah, there it is. Race control activated it right now. No DRS on the long straight right now, but in the next lap then. So Mike Taylor has sneaked away from Grimo, but Grimo was not able to sneak away from Stefan Willis, who searched the slipstream here. Behind him, Gosiga not in a position to attack yet. Mike Taylor will try to sneak away even further so that Grimo will not be in his DRS window, and that would put Grimo into a very bad spot if Willis and maybe even a second person with Goziga should be able to open up DRS behind him. Grimo right now is 1.1 second behind Mike Taylor, so let's see if he might be able to crawl up just enough. We see a few 3-second penalties coming in here. Stefan Willis, we were just live with him when he cutted the corner, giving him a +3-2. But if everyone has one, doesn't matter anymore at all. So Willis should have DRS. Grimo will probably not have the backup on the long straight. Bit of an acceleration problem for Willis. 7/10 away from Grimo. Grimo already taking the defending line. While in the... Let's jump ahead a bit to here. Thomas Walsh has overtaken David Lawson. So Thomas Walsh would be on the podium right now. But this is far from over. I'd like to say Simo already sneaked away over 3 seconds. So as long as he does not commit a mistake, I think it's clear who will be the winner of this Grand Prix. And the question is just who is in P2, 3, 4 and all those behind as well. As we have Ninja Pro quite close to Lawson, and Lawson slipped out of the DRS window. So Lawson will not be able to attack Thomas Walsh on the long straight. He's right on the crossover, right around the 1 second. So let's just see if he was close enough when running over the detection point. He was just barely, but DRS is opened, at least for the moment. That means Ninja cannot close up. But behind Ninja, let's jump there, is already Dominic Walsh. So Dominic Walsh, this race for him could end on his P6 or maybe even on P4, maybe P5, something around that. So before the third safety car phase, I was talking about him being able to race for a podium, but I think that the scuba caused safety car came to a bad point of time for him, and now he sees himself in a position to fight for points to limit the damage, let's say. When we have a look at the overall standings, he has the RS on Ninja. Ninja does not have the top speed backup. This should give Dominic Walsh a pretty easy overtake maneuver right here. He's already close before the DRS zone, going to the outside. Easy going against Ninja. Walsh will have another DRS activated on the short straight right here, and I would like to assume that it will not take long until he is in the DRS window of David Lawson. As long as Lawson does not slip into the 1 second window of Thomas Walsh. He is close, 1.1, 1.2 seconds behind him. Dominic Walsh here is, now he is under the 1 second. And another penalty. Oh, another penalty against Dominic Walsh. We were live with him when he cut the corner. So after this battle, we will have a look at the details about the amounts of penalty seconds on the grid. Simo and Leonard Cam seem to be pretty good about that. Yeah, this pass will go just as easily as before. Yeah, Lawson is fast on the straight, not as easy as against Ninja. But still, this should work. Lawson defends himself. Better lane now for Lawson. Better lane now for Walsh. Better acceleration from Lawson, but another DRS window here for Dominic Walsh. Wheel to wheel in this chicane, and Lawson is able to defend himself for the moment, and in front of that Thomas Walsh is battling heavily with Leonard Cam too, so a lot of battle going on here for the podium and the places right behind. Yes, I'm pretty sure that this will be a action-packed finish to a already great race. Dominic Walsh seems to be a bit more patient this time than before. I think he will wait until the long straights. David Lawson, let's see if he can manage to stay ahead again. Let's jump ahead real quick. Thomas Walsh zooming himself closer to Leonard Cam. No attack yet. And Dominic Walsh is next to Lawson. Cannot attack him yet. Next little short straight is Pro Walsh here again. Let's see what's happening this time. Better acceleration, and this time he got him. This time Dominic Walsh passed Lawson, while Thomas Walsh ahead of him had no chance against Leonard Cam yet. I say yet. And oh, he's a bit. No, sorry. This way I wanted to jump. This way I wanted to jump. We are in the cockpit of Thomas Walsh. He will barely be in the DRS window of Leonard Cam here. Behind Dominic Walsh. I repeat it, they are not related to each other. Right at the DRS detection, Dominic Walsh seems to be inside the 1 second window, but Thomas Walsh does have DRS too, so no advantage or disadvantage for any of the Walshes here. Thomas attacking Leonard Cam, not yet. Let's have an eye behind. Dominic Walsh not able to attack him yet. Second DRS straight. Leonard Cam is always able to sneak away just barely enough that Thomas Walsh is unable to attack him. And while that is happening, we see a fight going on between Ninja and David Lawson. So Lawson might lose another spot after he already was on a podium spot. He is now battling to stay on P5. Oh, and Dominic Walsh is close here. Both the cars have DRS activated. Oh, bit of a braking problem for Thomas Walsh. Dominic Walsh will be able to attack him here, and then he is back in the podium. Back on the podium spot if he gets it. And be on P2 if he can make his last 3 laps to, if he can push out some magnificent effort. And Thomas Walsh has passed Leonard Cam. This time it seemed rather easily. I don't know if Leonard Cam had a acceleration problem. Now Leonard Cam will be under pressure again. Walsh attacks him, and Leonard Cam has lost 2 positions in just 3 turns. How evil is that for Leonard Cam? He had such a big race, and now he has just dropped off the podium. How evil is that? But he's still close. So let's see if he can get one of the Walshes back off the podium, or if rather Dominic Walsh is able to attack Thomas Walsh. We have 2 guys seen dropping out. Some issues for Mike Taylor and Grimo. so they have dropped out. Maybe some internet problems. I like to call that virtual engine failures. What engine failures are the reason to drop out in real life is maybe internet connection issues for us in the virtual world. And Stefan Willis sadly too, he had a good race, dropped back and now he's out. So we have a yellow flag in sector 3, it's probably the wrecked car of Willis. So we will see every person who will see the checkered flag granted points here today. Yeah, 2 laps to go for this hot finish in this threesome battle here. Let's have a look what's going on in this threesome from the camera view of Lannard Cam. I think Thomas Walsh committed a bit of a mistake, or maybe his tires are degrading, or maybe he's running a bit out of fuel, maybe he cannot run in rich engine mode towards the end of the race, but he definitely seems to be losing pace. Dominic Walsh about to attack him. Not yet, but this will go down the wire in the last lap. How great of racing action is that, ladies and gentlemen out there? How great is that? The race winner is clear and obvious, but who will go with Simo to the podium? Lannard Cam attacking Dominic Walsh. Dominic Walsh has DRS2, so no advantage, but Dominic Walsh had maybe a bit of acceleration problems, so he could not attack Thomas Walsh. Second DRS zone here. And still no attack from anyone yet. Let's see who can conserve his nerves the best in sector 2 with these difficult, fast-paced turns. Simo, meanwhile, will cross the start-finish line. Congratulations in just a bit for your second win in a row. But what is happening here? The guys seems to not be able to attack each other, but with here's the green, white, red for the last lap. Simo is through. Thomas W will be in second place. Dominic Walsh third. Lannard Cam in fourth. But with all the penalties, Lannard Cam will go to the podium on P2. Thomas Walsh in 3 and Dominic Walsh in P4. Congratulations. After a really great fight with sadly deciding penalties to the end of the race, P5 David Lawson will make it through on a good 5th position. Ninja Pro in P6, Goziga in 7, C. Dickey in his first race in P8, and Mercyman, who we saw struggling a lot, will acquire 2 points for his 9th place driver of the day for crawling up a lot of places is Goziga Simpa. Wow, what a finish! And here's the podium. Simo, second time in a row, I mentioned it, winning the Grand Prix, and here's the champagne! Whew, I'm still a bit out of breath from this hot finish, and a great race, a clean race, I would like to say, when speaking about the battles. And here's the final result. Simo has won it. Lannard Cam crawling up from P6 to P2. Thomas Walsh on P3. Dom Walsh on P4. Again behind both of his big rivals in the championship. So his gap will shrink even more. Lawson on 5, Ninja Pro 6, Goziga Simpa 7, Z-Dicky on 8, Mercyman on 9. Stefan Willis is granted a point, I think, but he actually did not finish, and likewise did the rest of the guys in here. And this is the official end, as we see the pictures of Foro Sol again, the baseball stadium. Yes, it was a really hot fight today, a really great race of the mainstream racing league. I hope you enjoyed it just as much as I did, and as all the racing drivers did, of course. Thanks for being with us, and yeah, I would like to welcome you again to the next race on Wednesday evening next week. Same time, around about 8:15 p.m. of UK time, we will start the stream on my channel. I am Sepp Bauer. Thanks for being with us. Have a nice evening. Good night. And keep racing.